This is both the most expensive European film and the most expensive independent film ever made. But was it any good? Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets. Try saying that really fast 3 times in a row. This was written and directed by Besson, who's also known for writing and directing La Femme Nikita, Leon the Professional, and The Fifth Element. Based on the French comic series Valerian and Laureline, the story is set in the far future, where the main characters must race to identify a dark force that threatens a very large space station. For the most part, I would say that Dane DeHaan and Cara Delevingne have good chemistry. I've seen better, but I still bought it for most of the film. There were a few scenes where it was quite questionable, especially at the end. Perhaps I would have preferred to see 2 different people in the lead role, but like I said, they were fine. Visually, this film is stunning. From the planets, to the ships, to the alien species, they all look fantastic. Except for one species of alien, 3 characters that were in 2 or 3 scenes. I would describe them as having duck heads, bat wings, and monkey bodies, and they were about half the height of a normal human being. I really wish I could see some of your faces right now from people who've not seen this movie just trying to picture that. They were extremely cartoony and they just felt really out of place. They felt like they were from a different movie entirely. They seemed to just be there so they could say 1 or 2 lines that would help some characters get from A to B and just move the plot onwards. Speaking of plot, that's where this movie really struggles. And I think that's just because it was too convoluted. They were trying to do too many things at once. The runtime for Valerian is roughly 2 hours and 20 minutes. Without going into too much detail, because I want to keep this as spoiler free as possible, in one of the opening scenes you see this alien species that lives a very peaceful life. They're this tribal kind of alien species, and then you see their planet get wiped out. Don't worry, like I said, it's one of the very first scenes and it's in the first 5 or 10 minutes. And you don't hear or see them again until towards the final act of the film, the last 30 to 40 minutes. They're a major part of the main plot in this movie. And you can't have the main plot only be 20% of the film. You just can't do that. Which brings me to Rihanna's character, Bubbles. What kind of a name is Bubbles? The entire storyline that she was involved in seemed very pointless. It lasts for about 40 minutes and you could take out that entire chunk of the movie and it would not make any difference to the main story whatsoever. It wouldn't add any depth to the characters. Maybe it adds a bit to the mythology and the lore of the universe. And it's just things like that that makes the story really convoluted. It might not sound surprising for me to say that the pacing in this film is really slow at times. You know, since they go on all these tangents of storylines that are nothing to do with the main story. Finally, both Dane DeHaan and Cara Delevingne, they look very young. And they're both playing characters who are meant to be very experienced. You never quite buy that though. It just feels like you're watching 2 young adults running around and claiming to have done this stuff and have the rankings of major and lieutenant. I think it would have been better maybe casting 2 different people, maybe late 30s, early 40s even, 2 big stars. Maybe that would have helped. I don't know. So overall, unfortunately, this is not the next Fifth Element. Poor execution of the main plot meant that half the time you were just trying to figure out what was going on. The universe was well developed and I'm happy to see that Luc Besson finally got to direct this film. I'm pretty sure he's been a big fan of the comic series since he was a child, and I know for a fact that he based all the visual effects in The Fifth Element on the series. So it was just nice to see him get that chance. I would give Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets a 5 out of 10. This was just a bang on average sci-fi film. I would only really recommend this if you were a major sci-fi fan. And even then I would wait until it's on a streaming service, rental, or if you ever just find it really cheap on DVD. So do you think you're going to see this movie, or have you already seen it? What were your thoughts on it? Let's have a discussion in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, why not hit that like button and subscribe to my channel so that you can see the next movie review that I put online. Until next time, see ya.